I never thought a vacation could turn into a disaster or the best decision of my life, depending on how you look at it. It all started with a simple message from my friend Laura. Girls, Cancun is waiting for us. Beach, tequila, and zero worries. And me, being the irresponsible one I am, said yes. Let's make it unforgettable. What I didn't know was that this phrase would be the start of something that would change everything, including my marriage. I had an amazing husband. Carlos was the classic good guy, stable, with that irresistible nerdy charm that makes you feel safe. He adored me, called me every day, and said sweet things like, "Love, take care of yourself. I'll miss you." Yes, all of that while I was planning exactly how to make the most of this vacation without him. The first night in Cancun felt like a dream until I started noticing the men around me. It wasn't like I was looking for trouble. They were just there, shining as if they knew I was available for anything. And there he was, Miguel, with that bad boy smile and a body that looked sculpted for Instagram. I approached him, shyly, but with a clear intention to try something forbidden. And honestly, that first slip was like an electric shock, reminding me how alive I could feel outside the comfort of my married life. The next day, the dynamic changed completely. It wasn't just Miguel anymore. There was something in the air that made me feel invincible, almost like Cancun was a place where all the rules were suspended. Between mojitos and laughter, I met Javier, another one of those men who looked like they walked out of a cheesy movie. But surprise, they actually work in real life. Every encounter was a dangerous game. Flirting, lingering looks, spicy comments, and me laughing at it all while thinking, Carlos will never know. Or will he? The tension, of course, was delicious. Knowing I could do all this while keeping my normal life at home was like a challenge calling my name. Every message from Carlos asking if I was okay or resting made me laugh. I'd open it with an ironic smile and reply with the most innocent version of my days, like, "Yes, everything's perfect, love. Beach, relax, girls, miss you so much." Meanwhile, every night, my hotel room became a stage where the line between fun and danger completely disappeared. Of course, it wasn't all linear. There were moments when guilt tried to sneak in, like when I looked at the sea and thought of Carlos. But it was brief. The adrenaline was too intense to stop. Each man I met offered something different. Miguel had intensity. Javier was playful. Another, Diego, was bold and direct, each activating something different in me. And me, almost like an expert villain, enjoying every second, perfectly balancing innocence and transgression. The most fun, ironic, and utterly naughty part of all this was how I could balance it. During the day, I was the perfect friend, laughing, taking photos, playing the happy tourist. At night, the choices got riskier, more intense. I had to control the pace, not just of my encounters, but also of my energy. I knew boredom or monotony could ruin the experience, so every move was calculated. A whisper here, a quick touch there, a look that said, "I'm not yours, but I could be, if you want." I had never felt anything so extreme. The mix of guilt, power, and desire was intoxicating. Each encounter was faster, bolder, more dangerous. Cancun became my little forbidden paradise where I could be free, irresistible, and utterly shameless. Meanwhile, Carlos stayed at home, completely oblivious, sending messages full of love and trust. I read every word with a mix of tenderness and sarcasm, thinking, if only he knew. But of course, none of this could last forever. There were signs, little mistakes piling up, maybe a photo shared by accident, maybe a message not fully deleted. The risk was there, but it only fueled the adrenaline. Every new man, every game, every stolen smile made me feel alive and, at the same time, a kind of perfect villain. And I was enjoying every second. Cancun wasn't just a vacation. It was an emotional training ground, a place where I could experiment, break rules, and redefine what it meant to feel alive and desired. And as I lay on the sand, the sun burning my skin and the sound of the waves around me, I couldn't stop laughing at the irony. Carlos trusted me, and I was playing with fire 5 times in just 2 weeks.
The following days were a mix of routine and perfectly calculated chaos. I had a plan, though I didn't realize it was turning into a full-blown criminal strategy of fun. Every morning, as the sun woke me up with force, I reviewed my mental schedule for the day. Miguel at 11, Javier at 2, Diego at 6. Yes, it was practically a calendar of men, each with their own charm, each with their own seduction method, and me, the conductor, enjoying every move. The first thing was logistics. I couldn't just show up with anyone at any time. Everything had to be coordinated, subtle, and most importantly, maintain the facade of the innocent tourist with my friends and, even more important, with Carlos. So while they slept or were busy, I sent coded messages, misleading selfies, fake locations. It was like playing a strategy video game where every mistake could cost me dearly, but the reward was too addictive to stop. Miguel was intense, the kind of man who makes you forget to breathe normally. We'd meet near the beach, between laughs, beers, and comments that seemed casual, but that we both knew where they'd end up. And while I was with him, I sent messages to Carlos like, "Got lost exploring the city today. Total chaos, haha." Lies so simple they seemed innocent, but hid the most explosive truth. Javier was the complete opposite. Playful, joking, bold. With him, the encounters were faster, more laughter, less drama, though with a spicy touch that had me biting my lip every 5 seconds. We met at bars or sometimes by the pool, pretending to sunbathe and sip margaritas. But every comment, every prolonged laugh, every gesture reminded me I was crossing lines I never imagined crossing, and I loved every second. Diego was direct, no beating around the bush. He chased me all over the beach, met me in hidden corners, and within minutes had me under his spell. The most fun part was the feeling of being an expert in camouflage. My friends thought I was having fun with them, but in reality, I was running my little empire of secrets. Carlos at home trusted me blindly. Every message from him made me smile ironically. "Hope you're resting well, sweetheart." If only he knew. Each encounter had its ritual. Before leaving the hotel room, I made sure no evidence was left behind. Clothes in place, messages deleted, Instagram stories with fake locations, edited photos. It was a game of precision, and I admit part of the adrenaline came from that constant risk. Would I be discovered? But I couldn't stop. The feeling of total control over the situation, having 5 different men at my disposal while maintaining the image of the perfect wife, was intoxicating. What made it even intense was alternating between the men and moments with my friends. During the day, I was the girl who laughed, danced, and took photos, seemingly carefree. At night, every message I received from them made my heart race differently. Short messages, subtle coordinates, implicit promises, all planned so it would never intersect with Carlos's life. And of course, my husband's messages kept coming in. I miss you. Take care. Send me beach photos. I responded with fake sweetness as if everything was fine. The psychological game was incredible. Each man believed he was unique, special, had my full attention, while in reality, he was just part of a much bigger show. Each date was like a mini episode, with its moments, tension, all calculated. The adrenaline grew with each affair, and I learned to modulate my energy. Low, whispery voice with one, loud, playful laughter with another, intense, fixed gaze with another. Every gesture carefully designed to maintain control and excitement. There were moments of near disaster, of course. Once, Miguel almost saw a message from Carlos on my phone. For a second, I thought, it's over, but with a quick move and a bit of boldness, I diverted his attention and continued the performance. Every little risk added more spice to everything. It was a dangerous dance between guilt and pleasure, and I was intoxicated by the combination. By the middle of the second week, I already had 5 different men, and with each one, I experienced something different. The feeling of absolute power was almost addictive. I could come and go, choose the moments, feel the emotions. Carlos still thought I was resting peacefully while I kept a secret schedule of risk and total control. Every day was a perfect balance between the appearance of normalcy and the intensity of my adventures. And the best part? No one suspected a thing. Not my friends, not Carlos, not even the men themselves knew I was running this complete game. Every laugh, every selfie, every fake I miss you was a reminder of how skilled I had become in the art of lying. Cancun had become my stage. 5 men were the actors, and I was a director of every scene. I'll never forget the moments everything came crashing down. Until then, it had been a perfect roller coaster. Control, adrenaline, 5 different men, each with their own spark, while Carlos believed I was sunbathing and enjoying innocent vacations. But as always, perfection has its limits, and mine began to crack with a simple message I forgot to delete from my phone. It was from Javier, one of my favorites, something casual. Can't wait to see you tonight. I opened it while sipping a cocktail by the pool, laughing, thinking no one would see it. But of course, someone did. Miguel, who was right beside me, leaned over and peeked. I brushed it off with a smile, but the seed of paranoia had already been planted. And that was just the beginning. The real disaster hit when I got home. Carlos had decided to make a surprise. He arrived earlier than expected. I, confident, with my suitcase full of Cancun souvenirs and my heart still racing from my adventures, didn't see the storm coming. The door opened, and there he was, with a look of disbelief and eyes that couldn't hide the pain. For a moment, the whole world seemed to stop. I tried to play my usual card. Smile, hug, light kiss. Honey, what a surprise! I didn't know you were coming today. He looked at me as if he could see right through me,
as if he had read every one of my secrets, every carefully planned lie. "Really?" he said, his voice calm but loaded with tension, that tension that makes you feel the weight of every lie you've told. The first sign that everything was lost was his phone in hand, showing messages I never thought I'd see. Photos from Cancun, messages from unknown men, compromising notes. It was all there, irrefutable evidence of what I had done. I tried to downplay it, laugh a little to lighten the mood, like I had done so many times in Cancun. But this time, nothing worked. The laughter got stuck in my throat. Carlos took a deep breath, and what he said next hit me like a knife. "I can't believe you did this to me." Every word cut deep, and all I could do was stare, stunned by how quickly my perfect world had collapsed. I tried to justify myself, make up excuses that sounded believable, like it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But even as I spoke, I knew it was useless. He wasn't just seeing my words, he was seeing the truth I was trying to hide. The first confrontation was explosive, full of yelling, tears, and accusations. Every detail I had tried to hide came to light. The names of the men, the locations of the encounters, the messages I thought had disappeared, all exposed in slow motion, and I trapped in my own web of lies. The irony was painful. I had spent weeks chasing adrenaline, and now it all became evidence of my betrayal. What followed was the ultimate confrontation. Carlos looked at me with that mix of pain and disappointment that cuts deeper than any word. I tried to explain, but every sentence sounded hollow. Every attempt at defense was just more proof of my guilt. Finally, the tension reached its peak, a heavy, charged silence where neither of us knew what to say. We just breathed, aware that nothing would ever be the same. Then the decision was inevitable. Carlos told me firmly that he was leaving, that he needed time to process, to understand how someone he loved could destroy trust in just a few days. I, in shock, could barely react. I felt regret, guilt, but also a strange sense of release, as if something had reached its final point with no turning back. That night, as the city lights flickered through the window, I was left alone with my guilt and memories of Cancun. Every moment of adrenaline was there, but now tinged with a bitter taste. The feeling of power and control I had felt for weeks turned into absolute emptiness. And as I listened to the sound of silence, I understood the irony of it all. I had played with fire, and the blaze consumed me completely. The most painful part wasn't the yelling or the accusations, but Carlos's gaze. That mix of disbelief, disappointment, and sadness is something you never forget. And I, who had felt invincible for weeks, realized that no adrenaline matters when you destroy what truly counts. In those final hours, as I packed my things and felt the weight of every lie, I knew I had lost more than a husband. I had lost the innocence of believing I could get away with it.